I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's gonna say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch at Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo. And the motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs. Oh, wait, there she is.
The shift happened so quietly that most people probably didn't notice it at first. One moment, the conversation was moving along like it always does. Familiar arguments, predictable reactions, and the usual back and forth that daytime political shows are known for. Then Joy Behar crossed the line without even realizing it. Speaking with a dismissive tone and a confident wave of her hand, she brushed off an entire group of young conservatives with a single label, saying it as if everyone would automatically agree. That turned out to be the wrong assumption. Across the table, Greg Gutfeld didn't respond right away. He didn't cut her off or make a dramatic face for the cameras.
In tonight's View on The View, here's Joy Behar calling young Republicans dumb.
This business about the aging that keeps coming up and talking about the young generation. The young generation of Republicans are dumb. You've got that Vivek Ramaswamy. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene. You've got, wait a second, Lauren Bubblehead, Matt Gaetz. But you have all these people who went along with the insurrection, who believe that Trump won. Oh, Marjorie's out there. Oh, Trump won by a landslide. They're liars, and they are the new generation of the Republican Party.
Joy sure loves running her mouth. She should. But she should. It's the only running she does.
Instead, he stayed quiet. He listened and let her words settle before saying anything. The audience felt the shift too. What had sounded like a casual jab just moments earlier suddenly carried a lot more weight. The comment hung in the air long enough for its dismissive tone to become impossible to ignore. Joy kept talking, unaware that the mood had already changed. She looked relaxed, spoke with confidence, and even sounded a little playful. If you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. She carried on as if the audience were already behind her. But the laugh she seemed to expect never came. Instead, there was a brief silence. It was awkward, unmistakable, and impossible to miss. In that moment, the conversation stopped feeling like just another TV debate. Then Gutfeld finally turned toward her. He stayed calm and composed, showing no anger, only focus. It was the kind of look that tells you everything has just changed. The discussion was no longer about scoring points. It had become something much more direct and personal.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I noticed Jesse was a 7.
Joy Behar calls her a 10. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a rating system, but it's such a typical thing from a 1.5. Did you watch the whole thing or just the parts that I sent you?
I watched it. Obviously, just the parts that you said. Did I watch a whole episode of The View?
No woman can do that unless you're stupid. But
I have a job.
Here's the thing. How can they call themselves progressives when they keep saying that nothing has progressed? Then it's on them.
Right. I just wish I could have, would have watched if I could, would have been Joy Behar watching that.
Yes.
And being like, I totally made the right call. It was not an accident that they had him there on her day off.
Gutfeld didn't respond right away. Instead, he let the silence linger just long enough for Joy's comment to sink in. That pause made a difference. It gave everyone watching a chance to think about what had actually been said instead of brushing it off as another quick insult. When he finally spoke, his voice stayed calm and measured. He wasn't interested in attacking Joy personally. He challenged the assumption behind her remark. He reminded everyone who she was really talking about. Millions of everyday Americans who don't spend their lives in TV studios or political circles. People who get up early, run businesses, raise families, pay their bills, and deal with real-world problems far removed from cable news debates. He didn't make a dramatic speech, he simply laid out his point step by step, and that made it even harder to dismiss. At first, Joy smiled and nodded as if she'd heard criticism like this many times before. But the mood in the room had already shifted. A few people laughed, not because it was funny, but because the point caught them off guard. Then came the applause. It wasn't loud or over the top. It was steady, thoughtful, and clearly a response to the argument he had just made. Gutfeld kept going, narrowing the focus even more. He questioned whether calling people stupid because they disagree is really an argument or just a way to avoid having an honest conversation with those who see the world differently. He never raised his voice or rushed through his points. Every sentence was calm, clear, and difficult to brush aside. That's when Joy's body language began to change.
Of course, there's as much a chance that Trump will be impeached as there is a Joy Behar ever seeing her feet. The Washington Post ran a fluff bomb celebrating centrist Democrat women, going gaga over their resumes, mom energy, and group chat chemistry. But in this journalistic stroke job, not a single policy position was mentioned, which is weird. That's like doing a profile on me and not mentioning my many bodybuilding awards. Thank you.
She shifted in her chair, leaned back, then forward again, as if trying to regain her footing. The confidence she showed earlier had started to fade. She wasn't controlling the conversation anymore, and it showed. The audience had stopped waiting for punchlines. They were paying attention. What started as light banter had turned into a real confrontation, not because anyone raised their voice, but because her comment was finally being challenged instead of ignored. Joy responded the way she often does when the pressure builds. She leaned into sarcasm, firing off jokes, stereotypes, and quick remarks in an effort to regain control. Her voice grew sharper, her gestures became bigger, and she spoke faster. But instead of answering the argument, she relied on ridicule. A few laughs followed, but they didn't win the room the way she expected. Gutfeld waited for her to finish before responding. Calmly, he pointed out that mockery isn't persuasion, and speaking louder doesn't make an argument stronger. If you replace reason with sarcasm, he said, you're not proving your point, you're avoiding it. The line landed, and the applause was stronger than before. Joy tried to respond, but the rhythm was gone. She was reacting instead of leading. Her thoughts began to overlap, her sentences lost their flow, and the confidence she started with gave way to visible frustration. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. One side stayed calm and focused, while the other became louder and more scattered. What began as a casual insult had turned into a moment that exposed a much bigger problem.
Well, she had that one Halloween where she went as Diana Ross and she felt she was treated differently.
You know, I also just... He also came off as just extremely likable.
Yeah.
I know that they booed him when they heard certain things, but it was hard to watch that and get mad at him or think he's a jerk. So I think maybe being in an environment like that could make somebody very irritated beyond the ability to do that, but he really pulled it off.
What did you make of it?
Joy Behar, the comedian that inspired me to be a cab driver. She proved yet again how dumb she really is on The View when she pointed out that people in East Palestine voted for Trump. Roll this.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety.
Ooh, you can hear the audience gasp. God, The View's so bad I'd rather watch Jerry Nadler do naked jumping jacks.
Joy could feel the momentum slipping, so she tried to take control again. She leaned in, raised her voice, and used bigger gestures, hoping more energy would shift the conversation back in her favor. She dismissed the criticism with broad generalizations, treating disagreement as something not worth taking seriously. But the more she spoke, the less convincing it became. Gutfeld took the discussion in a different direction. Instead of debating ideology, he focused on everyday life. He talked about families dealing with school budgets, rising gas prices, grocery bills, and the real-world decisions people face every day. It was a sharp contrast, and the audience responded. This time, the laughter was louder because the point felt real. Joy smiled, but the confidence from earlier was fading. She tried to brush it off, yet the room wasn't following her lead anymore. As she pushed back, she interrupted, restarted her thoughts, and shifted from one point to another. It felt more like frustration than confidence. Meanwhile, Gutfeld stayed calm and let the contrast speak for itself. He didn't have to force the issue. The gap between political talking points and everyday reality was already making his case. By then, the debate had become less about politics and more about credibility. One side remained steady and focused, while the other struggled to regain control.
No, she wouldn't have. Yeah, she's just there. She's just basically inherited that spot. Maybe they can't move her.
Yeah, that could be.
That could be it.
Fossilized.
Yes, it's like she's grown into it. Like those people that they find on sofas and they're like stuck. They have to take and they find the remote control in a fold.
She's a tree person.
She's a tree person, Kat. She's a tree. Shouldn't it, when somebody says something like these people are dumb, shouldn't there be an app that then like connects these people together and they have to prove that they're smarter?
Joy couldn't let it go. You could see it in her body language. She leaned forward, her shoulders tightened, and the confidence she started with was beginning to fade. She wasn't just responding to Gutfeld anymore. She was reacting to the audience. The applause, the laughter, and the shifting mood were clearly getting to her. Her voice grew louder, driven more by urgency than confidence. She repeated the same ideas, rewording old points and returning to the same criticisms. But the more she repeated them, the less impact they had. Gutfeld stayed patient. He didn't interrupt or argue every point. He waited until the pattern was clear, then calmly made his point. He suggested that when a debate turns into name-calling, it's often because the stronger arguments have already run out. The audience responded immediately. Laughter broke out, followed by another round of applause. Joy tried to keep talking, but her words were drowned out by the reaction around her. For the first time, she wasn't leading the conversation anymore. She was struggling to keep up, and the contrast between the two had become impossible to ignore.
To cancel them. And this has got to stink, you know, because Joy Behar, she's lashing out at Gen Z for acting like the economy left them behind.
They feel left behind by the economy, and they also see everybody trying to not age. So that they
Please, get a job.
No, but they have jobs. No, they have to work multiple jobs.
There's a million job openings in this country.
Life is so
get a
important.
job.
Talk to any of our
They've
staff.
also lived through a pandemic. They've lived through the worst of times. I'm raising 2 Gen Zers, so I want to just defend them a little bit.
Kind of makes you like Joy Behar for a second.
That'll never happen. I think Bigfoot expresses exactly the problem of so many entitled, aging elites. I got mine, what's your problem? The problem is not everybody can be as talented and as beautiful as Joy Behar. Not everyone can have the glorious opportunity to shine on an intelligent vehicle like The View. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
When I hear Joy Behar, I hear the dying gasp of a malicious, self-centered generation. I'll be dead soon.
One side stayed calm and measured, choosing every moment carefully. The other was growing visibly frustrated, chasing reactions that were no longer coming. What began with confidence had turned into defensiveness, and the audience could clearly sense the shift. Control of the conversation had changed hands, and there was no easy way to get it back. At that point, Joy stopped trying to persuade and started trying to overpower. Her tone grew sharper, her words came faster, and she leaned more on emotion than explanation. But the harder she pushed, the less effective she became. The room simply wasn't following her anymore. That's when Gutfeld changed gears. Instead of arguing, he used quiet satire. He pointed to everyday situations, grocery stores, school meetings, community events, where slogans don't solve real problems and applause doesn't matter. The humor landed because it felt familiar, and the audience responded with loud laughter. Joy tried to brush it off and dismiss the point, but the reaction around her told a different story. The confidence she had at the beginning was gone, replaced by visible frustration. Her timing slipped, her interruptions missed the moment, and the rhythm of the conversation no longer belonged to her.
She's on The View.
Save it, dude.
She's on The View.
Totally.
Together, they can't get 10 brain cells together.
Thank you.
Oh,
That's
God, she's an idiot clown in a fright wig. I think, Rob. Rob.
Yes.
Yes. Look, I don't have a problem with anybody calling anybody dumb.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
By the way, I say worse things. Kennedy, you talked about Joy and the nonsense that she'd said before.
Absolutely.
I think on this show.
Certainly, Greg.
If not,
I'm not going to
show.
shy away from this.
No, you're not.
We literally talk about anything else.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
No. The View, by the way, we have to say thank you to The View for providing us with It was a slow weekend for news, right? I had to do war. So The View just gave us like so much. Did you see it was on Fox all the time? It's like the Fox News went to the View buffet and just started scooping out, going back for more.
Joy made one last attempt to turn the conversation around, but her response felt scattered. Her points ran together, accusations piling up before any one idea could land. She wasn't making a case anymore. She was reacting. Her voice grew louder, her pace quickened, and her frustration became impossible to hide. Gutfeld stayed composed. He let her finish, then answered with a few calm, direct observations. No long speech, no dramatic gestures. He simply argued that when a debate turns into insults instead of explanations, the argument has already lost its strength. The audience responded immediately with laughter and applause. Joy tried to speak over the reaction, waving her hands and shaking her head, but the room had already moved on. People were no longer waiting for her next point. They were watching to see how the exchange would end. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. One side remained calm and measured. The other looked increasingly frustrated. Every attempt Joy made to regain control only highlighted how much of it had slipped away. Then came Gutfeld's closing remark. In a calm, steady voice, he pointed out that when a debate falls back on name-calling, it says more about the argument than the person being criticized. The audience reacted with another round of applause, and the moment was effectively over. Joy tried to respond, but the energy had shifted. Her reply felt rushed, while Gutfeld stayed composed without celebrating or pushing the point further. He didn't need to. What began as a casual dismissal ended with a clear contrast in styles: calm versus frustration, focus versus repetition. By the time the segment ended, the conversation had become less about politics and more about who stayed credible under pressure.